The Golden Magne has left the country again. But this time, the silence around his movements is louder than ever. Onlookers at Gimpo Airport were stunned on the morning of June 11th as BTS's Jungkook was spotted boarding a flight to the United States with no major entourage, no press statement, and no indication of a scheduled public appearance. Dressed in black from head to toe, his face partially obscured by a mask and hood, the global superstar walked swiftly and silently past flashing cameras. No greetings, no eye contact, just motion and mystery. The images, quickly leaked online by airport spotters and fan accounts, instantly set X, formerly Twitter, ablaze. While some speculated that Jungkook was heading to appear on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, a program he's visited before during key promotional campaigns, others believe there's something much more private and emotional beneath the surface of this sudden trip. He's not just going to Fallon. He's sending us a message, wrote one user in a post that has now surpassed 500,000 likes. Jungkook looks like he's carrying more than luggage. And that's exactly what fans are afraid of. Jungkook's unannounced departure comes on the heels of escalating privacy concerns within the BTS fandom, triggered most recently by a seismic intrusion into his personal residence. While the individual was quickly apprehended, the psychological aftershock lingers. Jungkook has remained notably quiet since the incident, with no live streams, no fan messages, and now, no explanation for his sudden trip abroad. Though Big Hit Music has yet to confirm any appearance on Fallon or other US-based media, fans are not convinced this is a typical promotional tour. Instead, theories are swirling that this departure is a personal decision, a temporary self-exile meant to protect not just his physical privacy, but his mental well-being. And the photos? Fans are torn. While many celebrated just catching a glimpse of their idol, others were horrified by the renewed cycle of unauthorized airport photography. Under South Korean copyright law, the photographer technically owns the rights to the images, yet fans argue that legality doesn't equal morality. Just because you can post it doesn't mean you should. One fan commented on a now-deleted post, "He's clearly not in the mood for attention. Respect is overdue." This isn't an isolated concern. In 2023, fellow BTS member Kim Taehyung was also targeted by a seismic who tracked his flight schedule and appeared at his hotel uninvited. The incident reignited a long-standing debate about fan behavior, idol privacy, and the blurred line between admiration and obsession. With K-pop's international rise, the issue has only intensified. What once began as competitive fan culture in Korea has evolved into a global surveillance network, where flight paths, hotel bookings, and security footage are dissected in real time by millions of eyes. Despite new event guidelines issued in January 2025 that call for stricter boundaries and communication between celebrities and fans, it seems those rules were completely bypassed in Jungkook's latest appearance. No buffer zone, no privacy curtain, no protection from dozens of lenses tracking his every step. And perhaps that's the real tragedy. Jungkook wasn't at a red carpet. He wasn't on stage. He was simply moving through space, alone. As speculation continues, some fans are beginning to see Jungkook's possible Fallon appearance as a smokescreen. One popular theory claims the artist is retreating to the US not for promotion, but for peace. Possibly therapy, possibly rest. Possibly to finish something creative away from the intense scrutiny of his home country. And if this is his way of speaking, without saying a word, fans are beginning to listen, not through likes or retweets, but through a growing movement calling for restraint. Accounts once dedicated to sharing airport content are now going private. Fan bases are issuing coordinated messages discouraging reposts of the photos. A silence, intentional and powerful, is forming. "He doesn't need us to cheer right now," said one post from a major fanbase. "He needs us to listen." For someone whose entire career has unfolded under relentless public gaze, perhaps this is Jungkook's quietest and clearest performance yet. A walk, a flight, a message. Teo choose peace over presence. Teo choose self over spectacle. A Teo disappear, not because he's breaking down, but because he knows that healing can't happen in the spotlight. And maybe that's what fans will remember from this moment. Not the photos, not the theories, not even the Fallon appearance if it happens, but the truth behind his silence. that even golden voices need space to breathe. And if this is a hidden message, we should read it for what it is. Not a mystery, but a request. Let him
Go.
let him rest. Let him come back when he's ready, because this isn't just a trip, this is a boundary, and for the first time in a long time, we need to honor it. And so the conversation continues, not just about where Jungkook is, but why he's gone. The headlines will call it a departure, a surprise trip, an unconfirmed schedule. But anyone who's looked closely at the photos knows better. This isn't just about geography, it's about retreat. It's about a young man, not just an icon, carving out a space in a world that refuses to stop watching. The cameras caught his outline, his suitcase, his black hoodie, the lack of expression on a face once known for smiling even when exhausted. They captured the loneliness in motion. A man surrounded by people, yet completely alone. They saw his exit. They didn't see the wait. What no camera could capture, though, is what it took for him to walk through that terminal. What kind of silence was screaming inside? What kind of resolve it takes to leave not just a country, but the echo of millions demanding more? Jungkook has spent years giving performances, pieces of his life, answers, live streams, studio confessions. He's peeled back layers of himself in songs and interviews. But this time, he's taken something back, his own silence. If this truly is for a Tonight Show appearance, it will be met with applause. But even if he steps onto that stage, delivers a flawless performance, and disappears again without a word, that won't erase what led him there. If he smiles, it will be watched. If he sings, it will be analyzed. But behind that stage light will still be the shadow of a boy who once asked politely for fans not to send food to his house, a request made in public because privacy in his world no longer exists in private. And now, it seems, he's no longer asking. He's taking his time, his boundaries, his breath. The world has spent a decade watching him grow up through screens and stages. Now he's grown into someone who knows that presence is powerful, but absence, when chosen, can be even louder. He doesn't owe explanations. Not to his agency, not to the media, not even to the fans who love him most. Because love, real love, makes room for stillness, for privacy, for recovery. And that may be what he's finally demanding. There will always be rumors, always whispers and theories. But none of them matter as much as the truth behind his silence. And the truth is, perhaps for the first time, Jungkook has nothing to promote. He's not escaping the spotlight for mystery. He's stepping away because he needs to. And he doesn't need permission. This isn't a disappearance. It's a boundary. It's not a scandal. It's a statement. It's not distance from his fans. It's distance from pressure disguised as devotion. And if he does return with a message, a song, a moment, he'll do it from a place of peace, not pressure. Until then, fans are left not with a performance, but with a choice to wait, to respect, to believe that the same Jungkook who gave so much to the world now deserves the world to step back and simply say, "We see you. Take your time, we'll be here when you're ready." Because if there's one thing Jungkook has taught the world, it's that real love doesn't demand. It waits. Quietly, willingly, forever if it must. And in that waiting, something shifts, not just for Jungkook, but for all of us watching. We begin to understand that loving an artist doesn't mean consuming every breath they take. It means letting them have breaths we're not a part of. It means celebrating not only the moments they give to us, but also the moments they reclaim for themselves. Especially those. Jungkook walking through that airport alone is not weakness. It's not distance. It's not a cry for attention. It is, perhaps, the clearest assertion of autonomy he's ever made. A declaration that after years of giving pieces of himself away, he's finally keeping something for himself. Not a secret, but a sanctuary. The world that once watched him grow, laughed with him, cried with him, voted for him, cheered for him, must now learn to listen in silence. Not the silence of disinterest, but of reverence,
Of care.
Because someone who has carried the world's attention for so long should be allowed to set it down without explanation. Whether he appears on Fallon or not no longer matters. Whether this is for music, healing, or escape, it belongs to him. For the first time in a long time, something is his alone. There is power in that, not in fan edits, not in trending topics, but in restraint, in giving space, in choosing not to repost a photo, even if you love his face in it, in remembering that just because you adore someone doesn't mean you're entitled to every corner of their life. This is the lesson his quiet departure offers, not just to the fandom, but to the industry, the media, the culture that consumes. The lesson that the brightest stars sometimes need darkness to survive. That the strongest voices need silence to stay strong. Jungkook will return when he is ready. He will speak when he wants to. He will sing again, and it will be beautiful, but it will be on his terms. And the love that greets him then will mean more, because it waited without demanding, because it understood. Until then, let the images fade. Let the rumors rest. Let the silence stand, because somewhere beyond the airport doors, beyond the camera flashes and the speculation, Jungkook is walking into a space he's never had before, a moment without expectation, a life without chasing, a love without conditions. And maybe that's not a mystery. Maybe that's exactly what he's been asking for all along, and maybe now, finally, we're beginning to hear him. Not through interviews or lyrics or live streams, but through everything he didn't say, through every choice he made to turn away from the lens, through the softness in his retreat, through the firmness in his silence. There's a reason his walk through Gimpo felt different. It wasn't just the absence of staff or official announcements. It was the weight of presence without performance, of being seen, yet not offering anything beyond that. A message, unspoken but clear. I'm allowed to move without meaning. I'm allowed to exist without entertaining. That walk became a mirror for the fandom, for the industry, for a culture that too often confuses love with access. And what it reflected back was uncomfortable. How much of our love has become expectation? How quickly affection becomes demand? How easily we forget that behind the voice we cherish is a man who breathes, fears, grieves, and sometimes just needs to leave. But there is grace in this reckoning. The grace of fans learning to say less, to post less, to need less, to be proud of someone not just for how brightly they shine on stage, but for how bravely they step back from it when the light becomes too much. And Jungkook, in all his quiet, gave us that chance. He showed us a new kind of strength, the kind that leaves before it breaks, the kind that knows when peace matters more than praise, the kind that walks alone not because no one cares, but because someone finally decided to care for themselves. That strength is not something to mourn, it's something to honor, because when Jungkook returns, whenever, however, in whatever form, he won't be returning for the crowd. He'll be returning for the music, for the joy, for himself. And in doing so, he'll teach us all one final truth. The idols we love most are not the ones who never leave. They're the ones brave enough to disappear when they need to, and wise enough to know that those who love them for real will still be here when they come back. Quiet, waiting, and better for having learned how to let go. And that is the legacy he's carving, not just as Jungkook of BTS, not just as a solo artist breaking records, not even as a cultural icon, but as a person who, despite global adoration, chose wholeness over hustle, clarity over chaos, self-respect over spectacle, in a world that constantly tells artists to give more, post more, share more, show more. Jungkook's silent departure was an act of radical self-preservation. And in many ways, it may become one of the most important messages he's ever sent. A message not written in lyrics or spoken on variety shows, but expressed in the stillness of his step, in the way he chose not to explain, in the quiet insistence that he deserves peace, and nothing less. It challenges the very machinery that built him. The relentless schedules, the open access, the belief that an artist's life is meant for public consumption. It puts pressure not on him, but on us, fans, media, industry, to reconsider how we honor the people we claim to love. Do we love them for what they give us, or for who they are when they have nothing left to give? Jungkook's fans, ARMY, have long been praised for their loyalty, their creativity, their unity. But now they're being called to something deeper. To protect him, not just from antis or sasaengs or the media, but from the quiet erosion of his freedom. To love him with distance, with discipline, with grace, because what happens now is crucial. The silence that surrounds him must not be filled with noise. It must be preserved, honored, not interpreted, but accepted. If he's recording music in America, let him. If he's resting, let him. If he's grieving, healing, escaping, whatever the truth may be, let him do it without our hands reaching. Let this be the chapter where fandom matures alongside the artist, where we learn that sometimes the best support doesn't come from hashtags or trending numbers, but from our ability to step back, hold space, and say, "We're still with you, even when we don't see you." He gave us so many memories, so much light. Now we give him this: the right to go quiet, the right to fly alone, the right to be. And when he returns, and he will return, may he come back not because the world demanded it, but because his heart led him to. And when that moment comes, it will be worth the wait. Not because we missed his voice, but because we never tried to steal his silence.